like I was saying on the previous podcast, like I'd look at cars and stuff and I think I'd want that, I want that, I want that. And then once you can afford them, you don't really want them anymore. And there's like
what is that, do you reckon?
That status because someone's got more than you.
But like, what is it that like you think you want it and then you've got the funds to do it and then you're like, nah, I don't anymore. Like, what do you reckon happens in that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because that's hard to explain.
Yeah, I often think about that.
It's also very different. I think there's a calculation. I don't know how to explain it properly, but if you see a car that someone has or an item that someone has and you're like, that is a cool car, I want that one day, it's $50,000. Then you go on the journey and all of a sudden one day you've got, you've worked hard and you've put away $100,000 so you can go and buy that car twice. All of a sudden when you look at that car, it doesn't seem worth 50 grand for the amount of work you put in to put the 100 away. So you start comparing it to the effort and you're like, I'm not replacing that effort and time that I put in with that. I'm going to do something else with it.
And that's why debt works so well, because instead of having to stack the 100K or the 50, they go, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You just have to make
it's 500 a week, baby.
Yeah. And you're like, easily. Because then you compare that to your total income or other things that you've purchased in your life and you're like, yeah.
Exactly. And we can't see this, but you'd be shocked about how many cars on the road in New Zealand are on tick.
Yeah. I did dig it out last year. I feel like it's ridiculously high.
Yeah.
It's a massive percentage. But I think I started saying it was 80, but I don't want to say that because I just can't remember, so I don't want people to start going around saying it's 80. But it is stupidly high.
Yeah. Status in any form, breaking through and learning about it. It's kind of like survival. It's similar traits and stuff to get out of it. But really, it's another tough conversation with yourself. Being honest about it, to recognize that you have a status problem, and then creating the plan and exit strategy to get out. And because what you're constantly doing is trying to get the title or trying to get the car or trying to get the certain type of house or go on the holiday and fly in the business class or whatever and share it on your social media. All you're trying to do constantly is to fill up your cup. And the reason your cup needs filling up is because you're not actually doing the real work and being honest with yourself to roll with the full cup. Is it, you're laughing?
Yeah. Okay, I wrote a note here and I'm like, this is where the real work happens. Like, this is like escaping status mode is like, this is where the deep shit happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't want to, like PBD says when he's talking about the pyramid, is like a lot of us don't want to have deep conversations with ourselves or ask the deep questions.
Yeah, I think that was even written in the book, eh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're constantly, and because you haven't put in effort and created and been on the journey to roll with the full cup all the time, all you're doing is you're rolling with a half cup and then you're going to buy the car and it fills it up, and then 6 months later the cup's got a hole in it and then there's another fill up, so you need to try and get another title at work, or then you need to go on a business class flight to Australia, and then it's going up and down all the time. And that is why it's so hard to get out of, because if you're constantly required to fill up the cup, man, you better have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive to do so.
And there's always another tier. There's always another level.
Yeah.
As we've spoken about on different pods, where it's like even, Air New Zealand market to us status directly, being like, okay, what status are you?